All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're really happy to have you here. As a quick note, it's the early morning for me and Drake, but for some of you in Europe, it's 6 p.m. already, maybe beyond that. So for half of this room, we're hitting that morning coffee, right? Let me get a little sip on there. And the other half, it's happy hour ? I hope that for you. But either way, welcome. We're going to give people just a couple minutes to join in. And when you do, please say hello. Tell us where you're joining from. We love to see where you're at. We'll give people just a couple minutes. You can also say what's top of mind for you when it comes to experimentation. Any other question you want us to tackle during this session, we will have people responding. So feel free to give anything in the chat. But for the next, we'll give it a minute or two. We'll wait for people to join. So Fred, I'm curious, while we're waiting for people to join, is like the World Cup craze already happening in New York City? Like, is there like, are streets shut down? Like, what's happening?
Not really.
Okay. Because aren't the games like they're in Northern Jersey, right?
I know, but I don't see anything happening now.
Okay.
Maybe because I don't go out quite often.
Because I don't go outside. I love that. You're like, I'm too busy
building
products. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So dedicated. I don't even know the other locations of the World Cup other than New York because I lived there for 10 years. So that's all I'm thinking about.
There's in the Bay Area, in the Levi Stadium. They have.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Are you seeing the craze out there?
Oh, not yet, but I've seen it at the airport, actually. You know, they have these posts when I was traveling. So
okay.
They're starting to promote it.
Fair enough. Drake's like, I'm in Canada. The finger gun. It's perfect.
There's still some folks who are excited about it. I have some friends who are getting family over and planning to attend some of the games. So at least locally, some of the excitement's beginning to buzz.
Hey, I wish I were into football, but I'm really not. I wish I were, because it looks so fun. I've been to a couple Thorns games here in Portland, and it's very fun. But all right, we've given people a couple minutes. I think we can go ahead and get started. Yeah? Everybody's ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's dive right in. So many people joining. Last year, your team may have run hundreds or thousands of tests. Some lost. That's just the game, right? But the winners, I'm curious how many are actually live today? Because in my experience, I've been in Crow for 10 years. And in my experience, I've seen, we have these great winners. We're not able to get them out quickly. Are we ideating on the learnings we're getting? Like, how are you creating that feedback loop? It is incredibly difficult. So a lot of winners end up just sitting somewhere and they're in a backlog, buried in a Slack thread, right? I've certainly been there myself, but it's just the experiment won. So nothing actually changed in the product. That's the issue. And that's what we're trying to fix here today. So it's lovely to meet you all. I'm Katie Green, principal advocate here at Kameleoon. I'm thrilled to be joined today by three people I've actually learned a lot from. They're the most wonderful people in the business. So Fred, he's our chief product officer at Kameleoon.
Hi.
And
thanks for having me.
apparently never leaves his house, Fred. And then you have Makram. He's the head of marketplace at ID.me, and apparently is always at the airport.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone.
And then you have Drake, the director of AI product and growth at Gain.
Hi, folks.
For the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to walk you through what the life cycle of a test looks like. We're going to build it, configure it, launch it, push the winning variation to production. You will see it all in stages from each of us. And when I say push to production, I mean the winning variation going real into the code, not just living there and ready to be copy and pasted somewhere else. We're saying in the code base, ready to go. So we'll do it live. We'll use our 5 AI agents that we're announcing today. So it's a very exciting moment to be here. So Fred, over to you. Take it away to talk more about the problem that people are facing and what we're trying to fix here.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, building tests or building is not the bottleneck anymore. So a year ago, we released PBX, so prompt-based experimentation. so our first version. And with it, our customers cut variation development time from days, maybe sometimes weeks, to minutes. And that problem is behind us. It is fixed today. The new problem is, I would say, everything around the test. Which idea is worth your traffic. Your traffic is limited. You can't test all your ideas. How do you configure the test without making mistakes? Is the targeting okay? Is your metric accurately collected there? Because it can skew basically your result. And what does the result really mean as well? And once you have the winner, how do you work with your engineering team to push that winning variation into production before basically the insight goes stale and is lost forever here? And this is really where most, I would say, teams today lose value. It's not in running the test anymore. It's not in building the test anymore, but in turning, I would say, the insights you get from your experiment into action. So, I mean, Katie, you talk to more teams than I do, or anyone else, in our space. Am I describing reality here?
Absolutely. I mean, personally, I've experienced this, right, from my own experience running crow programs, and I talk to people all the time just as the principal advocate. But we're seeing all the time that people the staleness is the issue, right? They get this winning and it's really good and hot right now, and then it sits in a build queue for a quarter, right? Like, I've personally experienced that. So 100%, absolutely so true. And Makram, I mean, you've probably experienced that too. You have a ton of experience in this field as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I lived it 2 years ago, and it's been crazy. We have many winning experiments that are just sitting in the queue. We don't have engineering bandwidth for them. And so we have these code blocks that we rapidly prototype to launch our experiment. And now we want to take them to production. And the problem is, how do we integrate them so that they are in React code, and we call them authorable components, because we needed these components now to be editable by our web editing team in the CMS platform. So it's not only we need to take the JavaScript, and it needs to be natively built into the code and make it authorable component. That added a lot into the time to launch, to make it to production. So what that means, customers are not engaging. We are missing that precious time. We have a winning experiment, but it's not in production.
So that's exactly why we built PBX 2.0. It's to fix basically this full loop from idea to production. So not anymore to just the result, but really to push that winning variation into production. So today we are indeed announcing PBX 2.0. It's 5 AI agents, 1 workflow. So you get Ideate, which is our first agent. The idea of this agent is to surface, the best ideas, the one you need to focus on. Build, of course, which was part of our first version. So how do you turn basically an idea into a variation in minutes and not days or weeks anymore? Configure, which is a new agent. So once your variation is created, how do you make sure that you set the right targeting, the right metric, the right triggering, the right traffic allocation, and ultimately up to the launch of that experiment into production? Then we have analyze. So how do you get the most out of your experiment, the key takeaways of that experiment, and then ship, which is also new. How do we help basically the engineers to turn that winning variation into a production-ready code? So each agent is the best at what it does, right? So it's the best at ideation, it's the best at build, and so on. But they all share the same context. The work from one agent becomes a starting point for the other agent, and that's exactly what we are going to see today with our demo. And so we're going to start with first with Ideate, and so I'll let you maybe Drake explain further what it is.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Good to see you all. So within Kameleoon, you can look at the test ideas tab within Insight, and you can see this screen. Now, within CRO and experimentation, analysis and ideation and prioritization have always been tough challenges. And that's where the problem is. Most teams have more test ideas than traffic to run them on. And the industry win rate is 15 to 20%. So most of your traffic is going to lose. And that's the constraint that Ideate tries to solve. So here you can add, once you've added a project, you can add a page and enter a URL. And that's all it takes. We've run 2 of these already. And here are some of the ideas that it came up with and some of the hypotheses. You can see more scan queues reduce effort, clear taxonomy improves refinement, higher CTA salience increases the actions. And what's going on here is Ideate looks at the components of the page, the hierarchy, the copy, and it runs it through what we at Conversion call the levers framework. It's a framework that categorizes all the different types of friction used by some of the best-in-class consultants for almost 20 years. And we've been running thousands of tests for teams at top of market like Microsoft, Nike, Meta. And it shows not just the wins and the losses that drive this analysis. So here's what comes back. You can look at one of these ideas. Higher CTA salience could increase the action. You can look at see the details. You can see what the page looks like currently. Here's the hypothesis fed in from Gain Conversions Lupin. Higher CTA salience increases the action. If the add to cart action is more visually prominent during product scanning, the users will be more likely to notice it faster and take immediate action. There's an insight. There's some UX observations and some best practices that serve as surrounding evidence. Visual weight directs attention. The primary action needs clear priority. And then ultimately, you're not just getting a guess. You're getting the full execution and you're getting the reasoning. And that comes together with the test idea. Increase quick add visual priority. If you adjust the quick add presentation within product tiles, so the add action is more noticeable during scanning, while keeping the product image as the primary informational asset, you can begin to improve these metrics. And you can even see some of these variants and some of the spec details. And it comes with a prompt for PBX. These details have things like design rules. They have, some of the spacing, desktop versus mobile, the pixels, the colors, all the information you would need to actually implement the change. And then you can even notice this create in PBX button. From here, the prompt is already pre-filled and ready to build. We're about to send it over to Fred. But it's really amazing what this partnership has been able to get us between Gain and Kameleoon here. Again, this is powered by Gain's experimentation methodology, its historical learnings, and its confidence scoring coming from Confidence AI. So teams can spend scarce traffic on tests that are, the most worth running. Fred, why don't you go ahead and build it?
And before I let Fred build it, I think we should do a lightning round. This is something that we're implementing to bring some brevity to these think aheads. I want to get some popcorn answers going around. So I'm going to call on each of you and I'm going to ask you a really hot question and you have to answer it right or we're kicking you out of this webinar. No, I'm kidding. No, so lightning round before we get to build, short answers only. Give me your hot takes. Drake, what surprised you most when building Ideate?
A lot of things surprise all of us when we're building new products and innovating within the space. Probably something that surprised me the most was how the highest impact idea wasn't always, the most obvious one. Again, the prioritization is run by Confidence AI. It's the ML model, trained on all these ideas that can begin to guess whether tests are likely to win or not based on their levers. And this system consistently challenged, human intuition about prioritizing ideas. And honestly, that was a little bit humbling. I think that was quite, unique and surprising.
I feel like that's always surprising when it's like not the thing you're thinking of, Okay, Macram, you're next. Buckle up. If a team were to choose one of these 5 agents to adopt, which one is it?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, you're really putting me in a spot, but I think, ship is the one because everything else doesn't matter if it doesn't touch our customers. So bringing it out, shipping, that's the key.
Great answer. and the right answer. You get to stay, Makram.
Thank you.
This is Survivor style, voting you off the island. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Fred, what is one thing that PBX 2.0 doesn't quite do just yet?
Nothing. Nothing yet. No. Well, there is
Bold.
one agent which is missing. There is one agent which is missing in the previous slide, which is the QA agent, the testing agent. So this is something that PBX 2.0 does not do yet, which is automatic testing of a variation, making sure it works everywhere. All devices, all browsers, all points, and so on. But we are working on it. So we are going to announce many things as well by the end of the year.
So when we do the PBX 3.0 Think Ahead session,
Yeah.
we'll include this clip. And
promise.
now, I was going to say, now you're promising it's in there. Just a reminder to everybody watching, please put your questions, comments in the chat. We are responding to them live. So I want to make sure your voice is heard in this lightning round as well. Let us know what you think. We want to hear from you. But Fred, I think it's over to you. Let's go ahead and build it.
Yeah. So we've seen in the demo from Drake that there is a prompt. So Drake gave me a prompt. With PBX 1.0, we would have taken that prompt, and then the agent would have generated the code for that variation. And then, it's perfect. I accept it, or I can refine it after that. So it's a loss of time if the variation does not come as expected here. PBX 2.0 works differently. It works with me directly when building that variation. So several things to watch now. So we are going to show the demo here. So first, you will notice something. So I got the prompt from Ideate, so from Drake here. PBX does not jump straight into writing the code. It plans the change with me. So here it proposes me two versions here. So I can choose between version A and version B, which is new here, because PBX wants to make sure that it's going to generate the best version for me. So I can choose A, and I can refine here. So I can say, yeah, the CTAs are not centered over. Please center them before you generate any code. And then it is asking me to confirm the behavior here. So you can see that I can interact with the variation here. I can say it looks good, perfect, and then only then the variation and the code is generated for me. So this is something which is new, is that it plans the changes with me. It proposes me different designs. Sometimes I will get 3 versions because the AI does not know yet which one I would prefer, and then I can refine it with the AI up to the point where the version is perfect for me. So that's the key difference here. Second, I'm not going to show that now, is that PBX knows everything about your website as well. With PBX 1.0, the context that was known was only the page. But if, for instance, I have a component which I like on another page, I can just ask PBX to get that component for me, retrieve that component, and put it back on the page I'm currently working. So that's also something new that we are bringing with PBX to 2.0. And third, I can also build from Figma. So here, what I can do is that if we look at that variation here, when I add a product to the cart, there is no notification box, right? I don't know if it works or not, except that this little tooltip here. So if I have a Figma design, I can duplicate that variation here. I can then, copy paste the link of my Figma design. I can provide a little guidance to PBX, and then it's going to generate the variation pixel perfect as it is on my Figma file. So same story here. It's going to work with that Figma file. It's going to ask me to confirm that it's working fine. So you can see here that notification box, which looks like exactly the one I have in my Figma file. And and then the variation is created directly for me, so I can look at all the context that the AI is providing to me, so that I make sure that he's doing the right things here. And ultimately, my variation is ready to be launched into production. So that's what is new with PBX 2.2.0. It works with me. Make sure that the design is the one I want, and I can work with Figma if I have a Figma design already there for me.
Excellent. Before we go ahead and configure what that test looks like, let's do another lightning round. Round 2, Drake, you're up. I'm going in the same order. Okay. So what's the hottest take in experimentation right now in your perspective?
Hottest take. I'm feeling the heat over here.
I'm feeling very Jeff Probst. Like, you have to answer correctly. We're all voting you off the island. Like, what's the hottest take? You better get it right. There's
a correct answer to hottest take. I guess
yes.
The most popular. Well, one of the theses of Lupin, Gain's product that powers Ideate, is built off of a bit of a hot take. And that is that ideas are cheap. They really are. Especially today with all of the LLMs, and you could just plug something into ChatGPT and get a bunch of ideas, But what makes ideas valuable today is their defensibility and the reasoning that goes behind them. And especially where LLMs and AI are involved, it's the verifiability of both of those. I think that's the hot take.
We'll see if the world agrees with you. To be determined if that was right. No, I love that, Drake. Super helpful. I know people are tuning in and they want to pick your brains too. They don't just want to learn about how amazing PBX 2.0 is. So thank you for answering. And Makram, we'll move to you next. I think a lot of people, their main concern is, what is AI actually replacing here? So can you tell us a little bit more about what PBX 2.0 is replacing?
We already saw it. This is amazing. If you think about the pods of team, the growth teams, how they work, you have a PM, a marketer, a designer, engineers that are supporting them. You saw the examples right in this live demo here. A designer who's working in Figma, for example, now can use that Figma directly in PBX to see the output. So communication, streamlining that process. A lot of it is communication, Slack communication, marketers with engineers. So it is that streamline of this pod team working together. This is bring it all together and with a visual first approach. A picture tells 1,000 words. This explanation, it's reducing all of those busy work that is causing that friction and delay. I love it.
Love that. I've personally been in a lot of those Slack threads between two teams, so 100% hear you. I think Fred, Makram really just spoke to this a moment ago, but you can already do so much with PBX as it exists today with Ideate and Build. What else are your teams working on? People want to know the team.
Yeah. So I touched a bit about it, in the previous question. So the QA agent is one piece we are working on, but I would say that more globally. So we can see that there are some agents, and again, they are the best at what they do here. So context is definitely shared across all agents, but I still have to be in the loop, to validate everything there. So the next stage for us is what we call agentic workflows, which is the ability to chain these tools together by a single prompt. So I can do things like, for instance, analyze this page, find all the ideas, discard the ones, which have the lowest score, build the ones which have the highest score, QA them for me. I don't have to do that. I don't like testing across devices and browsers. It's so painful there, and then prepare them for lunch. The goal is for me, I wake up in the morning and I have all my variations ready to be launched. Some of them could be launched without me being involved. For instance, if they don't, the scope is limited and so on. I can launch them automatically with AI. So that's what we are working on, and we'll share more again in H2 this year.
Again, you're promising H2.
Yeah.
Everyone will remember, Fred. No, this is great. Back over to you.
Can we keep this piece?
No, this is great. Everyone give Fred a break, okay? He's working really hard. He never leaves his house. He's working so hard. Okay. No, this is great. So now that we've gotten to the point of building, we did this lightning round. I want to get back into the workflow, which is configure. Fred, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so this is new as well with PBX 2.0 because we really think or believe that configuration is where most tests go wrong. Wrong targeting. You notice that 2 weeks later you lost basically 2 weeks of data here, or the metric, the tracking was set up incorrectly from the beginning. You are going to lose as well a precious amount of time. So the goal is really to trust the data that you will get out of your experiment. And this is really the job of the PBX configure agent. It handles everything through chat. It's the same interface. So we've noticed in the previous video that there is the version which is ready, and there was a CTA configure now. So this is what we are going to see now in this in the next slide. So watch here. So prepare for lunch. So that's the right naming of the CTA. You can see here that I'm being guided through all the steps. I can build that segment with AI as well. So I can do things like target visitors from the US who are browsing a shop page and on the desktop device and who haven't converted the goal add to cart, for instance. And then a lot of things is going to happen behind the scene. It's going to look at are you asking for a segment, or are you asking for a trigger, or are you asking for both? The AI will detect everything automatically and then create the segments and the trigger for me. If the segment already exists, the AI will also detect that, so that we don't end up creating many objects in the customer account as well. So a lot is happening behind the scene. And then once I do that, I'm going to be guided through the other steps. Which metrics do you want to use? I can create the metric with AI as well, and up to the traffic allocation. Am I going to use multi-round bandit? Do you want the traffic to be split equally? And you've noticed here the CTM, so it's very subtle, but it was gray at the beginning, and now it's blue because we look at all the steps which are mandatory before you are able to launch that experiment into production, so that you do not end up again when your experiment is launched into production with a KPI which is not set up, your analytics platform which is not configured as well, where you want the data to be sent. So everything is being handled by the AI directly from the same interface. So that's the power of PBX configure here. So now I can launch that experiment. So the test will be live, and once you got enough data to analyze that test, this is where the PBX analyze agent will take over. And I guess it's for you now, Katie.
Finally, my part. Gosh. Okay. No, I realize there's a lot happening going on. We're running up on time, so I don't want to take people too over. I'm going to go through this a little quick, but again, please leave your comments, questions in the chat, and we will get back to you. And if you ever have any questions, you can always find me on LinkedIn and I will find answers for you. But at this stage, right, you've configured, 2 weeks pass, the test ran, you have your results. What happens to that result now? That's what this is answering. And I personally have been in a place where I keep all of my results in an Airtable, in Google Sheets. Everyone's been through that pain, I feel like, in experimentation. But the result gets screenshot, dropped somewhere in a slide or Slack, right? You really need an actionable takeaway. That's the thing that PBX 2.0 is providing the value on here. So the takeaways, right? You have all your experiment results and learnings in one place. You can see here that we have all these learnings just ready to go. You can see some of those insights, the revenue, all of those pieces. But to me, when I was the practitioner, the most important piece is probably being able to filter, right? So let's just, for the sake of today, filter by goal. And let's say they initiated checkout. They were able to get to that initiate phase. You can see these tests that are here of the results that tie to that goal. let's just click on this one because it's interesting. But the insights are pulled directly from the results page. I will spare you the ugly results page, right? And what I mean by ugly is that it just has a lot of data, and how many of us have stared at a results page and been like, but what does this mean, right? All of these different metrics, and we're all just like, how am I supposed to digest all of this? I've personally been in those shoes. So what this does is you have your AI insights overview. This is a really pared down version of that, but you have that insight ready to go. You can search it in a single place. You can take action on it immediately. And when you have questions 6 months from now about tests that were at a specific segment, at a specific goal, whatever it is, you're able to go into takeaways and look at that and see the insights right there. Also, I love that you can leave comments too, right? When you're working, we're talking about Slack, that's such a useful tool. At least at Kameleoon, we use it all the time. But you also run into the issue of, okay, when it's not in a single place, you're not in a single source of truth, conversations get missed. But here, you leave comments directly in it. You're able to speak to the insight that's generated, and you're able to take action a lot faster. So that's takeaway. The system also gets smarter every test you close. More of that is going to come in Q4, because that to me is the most important part to what Fred is saying about context, right? In a more technical build way. This context, this PBX analyze is feeding Ideate. And so when you see this test loses, your ideation is going to say, okay, I read this insight from the results. I'm not going to recommend things like this for this audience, whatever it is. But it's really that the test builds on itself, that compact and impounding. But okay. The test one, it's in takeaways. Now we ship it to production. And I think, Makram, you're definitely the person to talk about ship with.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, let me share my screen. I'm going to show you a live demo here. So bear with me. There. Can you see my screen?
Not quite. Let me see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. We're a little bit mirrored. I don't know if you can just share that one window instead of us. Or okay, there we go. I was like, now you can't see us.
No, let me get.
It's not a true webinar if there's not some technical difficulties.
Of course, but this is the beauty. We're showing you live stuff here. So this is an example that I worked on, independent of Kameleoon. Just so you know, this is like real litmus test here. I set up this website. You can check it out. It's askae.com. That's where we're using this demo today. And this is a Next.js app, and I'm using Cursor. So I configured in here in the tools and MCP, you can see I have the Kameleoon MCP connector inside Cursor, but you can use Codex, any of the IDE environments. And once you have that configured, you can just prompt it. So for example, first I did show all the tasks that are available with the Kameleoon MCP. So this is how it's talking to Kameleoon. This MCP business is really awesome, because now you can just, talk to a tool without using its UI interface. So it tells me that you can get the experiment list, get the code of those experiments, check on the results of an experiment. You can feature flags, all of those capabilities. Now you can just use this in your IDE and prompt it. So for example, I asked which experiments are running right now and what's the status on the results as well. So it just responds back. These are the experiments. These are the variants, the percentages. Are they winning or not winning? So for the demo example that we have, I wanted to check what's the status of the experiment, this particular one that we are demoing today in this session. And again, it just told me we have 2 variants, and this is the one that is currently getting the biggest conversions. But again, we don't have too much traffic on it to get a decision out of them. But this is the power of this MCP connection. So now that assume we have this variant winning, for example, how do we take it into real production with the MCP connection? So for that, I have written this script. So this is my prompt, and this is how you can control taking the Kameleoon PBX variant and into a production quality code. For my case, it's a Next.js app, and you can be very specific. Use my components. Don't go and build anything flat or like outside component. Prompt me if you want to do that. Make sure to use my design systems. So you can be very granular in the build instructions. And also, set up the feature flag like we discussed before so that I can turn it on and off. And that's exactly what I have done in here. I put this prompt in my in cursor, and quickly going out, it went ahead and built it, integrated. As you can see, these new capabilities have been added into my project code. And then all the way down, I just say push to production. And now let me show you. First, I'll go to Vercel. That's where I'm hosting my environment. And I enabled Kameleoon integration. And this is how it's going to connect my app to Kameleoon. And then it automatically enabled, if I go to the feature flags, it automatically added the feature flag for this capability, for this experiment in here. So all I have to do is just enable it from here, turn it on. And now it will be live. And with that, now when you go and visit the website, we can set it up. Let me quickly clear the cookies. And then if we go to this website, so quickly showing you how the add to bag functionality. So this demo example that we were showing you, this is a complete streamlined example that you have seen using MCP, taking the PBX prompt into production with a Kameleoon feature flag, and now it's live. You can check it out. Back to you, Katie.
Incredible example.
Can I just say something, Katie, here? So because I want to make sure here. So what we've seen is something incredible here. So we built an experiment with PBX. So PBX generates, of course, some code, JavaScript and CSS. We launched it live into production. So of course we waited 2 weeks before looking at the data, and then it's back to the engineer. And so the engineer from cursor here is able to retrieve all the context of that experiment. What was the prompt? What was the JavaScript code, the CSS code, and more, so that the AI can reproduce that winning version into the code base of what Makram has been using here. So transposing basically all the code into the real code base. So if this is not just copy and paste, it's really taking the winning version and adapting it to the code base. And so the version we've seen like 2 minutes ago here is the live version, the one which is not delivered by PBX, but delivered by the code base or by the website here itself.
Well, I think in summary, right, because we're coming up to the end here, we've officially closed the loop, right? That's what we're seeing here. I want to recap what we've done today. And Fred, you did, I feel like I just want to expand what you said a little bit more for that summary, which is not only did all of the build and shipping happen, we got the idea from Ideate, we coded it in build, we configured it and launched it, we analyzed the result, and then we shipped it to production. Like the loop entirely closes now, which is wonderful, right? You're able not just to take a certain piece, because that's what I'm seeing in the community a lot is like somebody's using an AI agent to analyze their test ideas. They have a custom GPT, Claude skill, whatever it is that analyzes tests. It doesn't do the whole piece. And this does start to finish the entire loop. So that's what's so impressive to me as somebody who, has had to run programs before. I'm like, holy cow, this really does close the loop in days, not quarters. And that's really where the teams are going to win the most, in my opinion, is we know learning is just one part of experimentation. It's about making sure that learning is translated into actual project changes that creates the most compounded impact, which is what I was trying to say at the end of my last section, but I haven't even finished my coffee yet. It's early, okay? we're working together. Okay. But basically closing the loop in days, not quarters. Huge. Shipping every winning idea in a reasonable amount of time. Going back to that staleness, right? You're shipping that idea quick. You're reacting fast so you can have the most impact. And you're learning from every single test, right? You're able to scan all the takeaways. It's just incredible that you can do it all in one place now. But Fred, I know a lot of people here are like, what's next? Tell us more. Nobody can just be happy where we are. No, I'm kidding. That's just product world. But since you never leave your house and all you do is work on the product, tell us a little bit more about what is next. I know you've teased it a lot in today's conversation.
Yeah,
but tell us more.
sure. So, I mean, what we've seen today will be live very soon to all our customers. So it's going to be shipped in about 2 weeks from now. So you should expect, all AI agents that has been introduced today to be in your workspace starting the second week of June. And really what we've showed today is the foundation of what's coming next. So I said a lot already about agentic workflows, but these agents are the foundation of agentic workflows, where all these agents can work together and autonomously, so that, again, I can wake up in the morning and everything's ready for me to validate, to be launched into production. So we'll share more in the next coming months. Starting in September about then. So thank you again. Thanks all. You can go and try it. So there is a 30 days free trial available. Anyone can create a free account here, and that's all I think.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Drake, Makram, Fred. Thank you so much for your time today. You can click try PBX now to give it a go, but really a wonderful session. If you have any more questions that we weren't able to answer or anything, you can find any of us on LinkedIn, and we're always around to help you. We love being able to support the community. But yeah, thank you so much. And that's all for this time. We'll see you for PBX 3.0, right, Fred? That'll be the next one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day or night.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.